A boy walks into a room full of soldiers, scientists, and enemies, puts his hand on a core compatibility device, and the machine displays a label that has never existed before in human history. Then the core melts, disappears, goes straight into his arm, and the entire room goes silent. The ground is shaking. The sky is on fire. And somewhere in the middle of all of it, a teenage boy is holding his little sister's hand, running for his life, with no idea that the world he grew up in is never coming back. But before we get to the running, let's talk about what started it all. Somewhere deep underground, an archaeological team did what archaeological teams should never do. They found something ancient, something sealed, something that was very clearly meant to stay locked forever, and they broke it open anyway. What came out wasn't treasure. It was a blood-red mist. Thick, slow, creeping, spreading across every city like the world itself was bleeding out. And the moment that mist touched a human being, that was it. Sanity gone, body twisting, collapsing in agony. Animals, though, animals had a different reaction entirely. They didn't die. They didn't collapse. They evolved. Right there on the spot. Ordinary wolves became creatures the size of buildings. Birds became flying monsters that could tear a fighter jet apart with their bare claws. And every living thing with fur, scales, or feathers became something that wanted you dead. Civilization didn't fall slowly. It fell all at once. 3 days before total collapse, warning sirens started going off everywhere. Stay inside. Evacuate immediately. The military is mobilizing. Something is coming. And that's exactly when Manhwa and his family decided to be out on a road trip. Look, they didn't know. Nobody knew how bad it was going to get. Manhwa is sitting in the back seat with his little sister Teal-Twit. She's small, sweet, total trust in her eyes every time she looks at her big brother. Their dad is at the wheel, skeptical as always. How bad can it really be? Their mom has a bad feeling she can't explain. Then a soldier appears at the car window. Face pale, hands shaking. He bangs on the glass and screams at them to evacuate right now. The air feels wrong. Heavy, like something massive is breathing nearby. And then, a car falls out of the sky. Not slowly, not gently. A full-size vehicle comes crashing down from above and slams directly onto the roof of their family car. The impact is catastrophic. The whole world compresses into a single terrible second. Manhwa doesn't think. He just moves, throws himself over his sister, and takes the impact with his body. When the dust settles, his father's leg is trapped under twisted metal, completely pinned. The door near his parents is crushed shut. Then the ground trembles. The whole family looks up at the same time. A beast the size of a building is standing not far away, and it's tearing through an entire army like the soldiers are made of paper. The father starts screaming, "Leave, go, don't wait for us." The mother reaches through the window, grabs Manhwa's hand with both of hers, and presses something into his palm. The last piece of bread they had. Her eyes say everything her voice can't finish saying. Then a massive shadow falls over the car. The wolf beast, skinned, spine exposed, ribs visible through its horrifying frame, lands directly on top of the vehicle. The pressure from its weight blasts Manhwa and Teal-Twit through the air. They hit the ground hard, roll, look back, and watch their parents disappear beneath the beast. Teal-Twit screams. It's the kind of scream that has no end to it. The beast turns its head, sees the siblings, still alive, still breathing, and begins to approach for a new hunt. And this is where Manhwa makes his first real decision as the protagonist of this story. He grabs his sister's hand, and they run. The world they're running through looks like the afterlife. The sky is packed with flying monsters. Hundreds of them, massive winged creatures diving at fighter jets and tearing them apart midair, sending fireballs raining down across the ruins of what used to be cities. On the ground, mutated beasts are hunting survivors through the rubble. The red mist hangs everywhere like a curtain that never opens. They make it to a supermarket, hide behind a row of shelves. A pack of mutated wolves is nearby, hunting by scent. Manhwa clamps his hand over his sister's mouth. Don't breathe. Don't move. Don't make a sound. The wolves circle, sniff, then move on. He releases her. She gasps for air. He breathes for the first time in what feels like an hour. And then Teal-Twit's face does something terrifying. Red patterns appear across her skin. Strange, spreading, pulsing, and she clutches her head and doubles over in pain. He looks in a nearby shattered mirror and sees the exact same patterns spreading across his own face. They inhaled the mist. Both of them. He moves fast, grabs a wet cloth, presses it over her nose, tells her to stop breathing the air. His own patterns are spreading faster. The pain hits him like a wall, something tearing through his body from the inside, something trying to break through his skin, his bones, his everything. He collapses to the floor. It hurts so much. Something is trying to break free. The pain eases. The patterns fade. He pushes himself back up and doesn't notice the monster that has silently crept up behind them while he was on the ground. When the creature's face appears, jagged teeth, grotesque, enormous, it's already too close to run from. They run anyway, out of the supermarket, into the open, straight into a larger beast that had been waiting outside. And when they try to go back, the wolf from inside has followed them out. They're surrounded. A giant bird monster circles overhead. More beasts close in from every direction, forming a perfect trap with the pack leader, clearly the most powerful, running the whole operation. Manhwa sees one narrow gap in the circle. He pulls his sister through. Inside the gap, another monster is waiting. He grabs a piece of wood off the ground. That's his weapon, a stick, against a creature that could swallow him whole. Predictably, the monster shatters the stick with its teeth and flings him hard into a wall. He hits the wall and slides down it. The monster opens its jaws wide. This is over. And a small arrow flies in from across the room and buries itself directly in the monster's eye. Teal Twit is standing there holding a toy crossbow, an actual children's toy, and she just saved her brother's life with it. The beast doesn't find this charming. It pivots toward her instead. New target, small girl, easy prey. Manhwa screams at her to run. The red patterns explode back across his face and arms. The pain is worse this time. He's coughing blood, leaning against the stained wall just to stay upright. He watches the beast closing in on his sister, and something inside him, something deep and ancient and furious, breaks wide open. He clenches his fist. The concrete wall around him shatters. An invisible shockwave fires outward. Debris launches like missiles directly into the monster's body. It screams in pain and stumbles back. Manhwa's eyes go blood red. He reaches down and picks up a sharp iron rod off the ground. He doesn't walk toward the monster. He charges. The rod goes through the monster's skull. He doesn't stop there. He keeps driving it deeper, roaring with every push. Dark red liquid sprays across everything. He is completely gone. Somewhere beyond rage. Somewhere beyond thought. Somewhere where the only thing that exists is the monster and the rod in his hands. Then a small pair of arms wrap around him from behind. "Stop it, brother. I'm okay now." Her voice. Sweet. Scared. Trusting. It cuts through everything. He stops. He blinks. He sees the blood on his hands and the devastated creature and his sister's terrified face. And the tears come before he can stop them. "I'm sorry for scaring you. I'm really okay now." But the moment of peace lasts about 3 seconds, because another monster charges from the darkness, mouth wide open, ready to swallow them both. He grabs her and rolls them clear. The beast pivots. He grabs the rod. Full swing. The monster goes flying into a wall, which collapses on top of it in a cloud of dust. Standing in the settling debris, Manhwa notices something strange. From the corpse, a blood-red energy is radiating outward like heat. Glowing, pulsing, rising. His instincts tell him something important. If he absorbs that, he gets stronger. He looks toward the pack leader in the distance. Points at it. Eyes burning. "As long as I take you down, I'll have enough power to protect my loved ones." He turns back to Teal Twit and tells her to hide inside a small alcove in the ruins. He'll lure the leader away. He'll come back. She grabs him. "Don't go. I'm scared you'll lose control again." He holds her gently. Promises her firmly. "This time I won't let that happen. Be good. I promise I'll be back soon to take you away from this hellish place." She nods. Total trust. Total love. "I'll wait for you to come back." He walks into the darkness. He fights through the pack. Every single kill precise and brutal, absorbing the energy from each corpse, feeling himself getting faster, stronger, more dangerous with every monster that falls. One beast bites into his shoulder. The patterns on his arm flare up, and he rips the creature in half with one hand. His hands are physically transforming, hardening, sharpening, becoming something between human and beast. Then the jet appears. A military fighter jet spiraling out of control above them, and Namho snaps out of his power, high just in time to scream. Teal, don't come out, stay hidden. The bomb hits. The explosion swallows everything. When the dust clears, a military helicopter is landing. Soldiers get out. They see Namho. They see the mutation symptoms on his face, his arms, his glowing eyes. They make their decision in about 4 seconds. They take Teal Twit. They leave Namho behind, classified as a dangerous pathogen. Too risky to transport. Too unstable to save. He's too exhausted to fight. Too empty to chase them. He can only watch the helicopter carry his sister away from him, getting smaller and smaller until it disappears into the smoke-filled sky. And then he blacks out. 6 months pass. 6 months of waking up in cold sweat. 6 months of the same nightmare. Teal Twit consumed by fire and smoke, reaching for him, disappearing. 6 months of grabbing a rifle before he's even fully conscious and continuing the search that has produced exactly nothing. He has checked nearly every refugee camp in the country. Not a single lead. His sister has vanished from the surface of the earth without leaving a trace. Our guy is not the type to sit still and accept that. So he does something clever. He enlists as a bottom-tier border patrol soldier. The lowest rank possible. Nobody looks at you twice. Nobody asks questions. But here's the thing. Only the military has the resources to track people across this ruined world. Only the military has the intelligence networks, the refugee databases, the freedom of movement. If Teal Twit is somewhere in this country, the military will have a record of it. All he has to do is stay invisible, stay useful, and not let anyone find out what he is. He's stationed at the Akisi border post where the red mist still lingers like a permanent bruise in the air. He rushes to his post late. As usual, nearly gets kicked by Captain Kachuan. As usual, and gets told very firmly that a big shot is coming today, and if Namho causes any trouble, Kachuan will personally deal with him. Namho climbs the watchtower and looks out over the ruins of what used to be a city. He grips the railing. I don't know if you're still alive, but I will find you. Meanwhile, down below, Captain Kachuan is smoking with his teammates. Relaxed. The elite special forces have already secured the area beyond the border. What could possibly go wrong? The red mist in front of the watchtower starts moving. Not drifting, moving. Rippling. Like something enormous is pushing through it from the other side. Namho's body goes cold. He knows this feeling. Something huge is coming toward us. A soldier shouts up to Kachuan. Something is happening out there. You should look. Kachuan stands, and before he can even process what he's seeing, 2 members of the special forces come sprinting out of the mist toward them, full panic, screaming to retreat immediately. Before they can finish the sentence, something lunges out of the fog. A massive mutated lizard, the size of a small building, moving with the speed of something that has no predators and knows it. It grabs Captain Kachuan by the collar and lifts him off the ground like he weighs nothing at all. Kachuan hangs there in its claw and manages exactly 5 words. This is really bad. From the top of the watchtower, Namho hears the screaming. He hears the chaos. He hears his captain's voice disappearing under the roar of the beast. He doesn't look for a ladder. He doesn't look for a safe way down. He jumps off the watchtower directly into the middle of the monsters below. What follows is not a fight. It's an execution. Namho moves through the pack like water. Fast, clean, decisive, taking down monsters in rapid succession with pure efficiency. He activates his mutation. His hands become claws. His eyes go red. A beast charges him from the side seeking revenge. He grabs it by the skull and delivers one punch so hard it shakes the surrounding ruins. The corpse hits the ground and immediately begins radiating energy, which Namho absorbs entirely into his arm without breaking stride. He smirks slightly, imagines how strong he'd be if he absorbed every single one of them. He channels the collected energy through his whole body and releases it in a single directed wave, sweeping every surrounding monster off the ground simultaneously. He is feeling himself, just a little bit. Then he senses someone trying to move into his space. He turns, standing in the dust and chaos, platinum hair, cold eyes, and an expression that suggests she has seen scarier things than him before breakfast, is Captain Tong and I. Behind her, an entire Special Forces team with weapons drawn. Every gun is pointed directly at Namho. His internal reaction is immediate panic. He tries to retract his mutated arm before they see it properly. Wait, I'm a soldier from the patrol team. The guns fire. He flinches, braces for impact. The monster that had crept up directly behind him hits the ground. The special forces weren't aiming at him at all. They saved him. He just didn't know it. Tangi walks toward him through the settling dust. Her voice is sharp and cold. Where is your weapon? Lowest ranked soldier from the patrol. Before he can answer, orders come through. Everyone is to report to the command tent. Hours later, Namho is tied to a chair. Two very large special forces soldiers are standing on either side of him. Tangi sits across from him with a file in her hands and the expression of someone who already knows the answer to every question she's about to ask. She lays it out for him simply. 37 casualties. 2 special forces dead. He left his post for over 2 hours. Right before the disaster hit. He can't exactly admit he snuck off for a nap. He stammers something vague. The loudmouth officer who has been in his patrol unit for months cheerfully chimes in. Namho is chronically late, but his captain always covers for him. Always. Namho turns and looks at this man with the expression of someone mentally composing a revenge plan. Tangi reviews his file. Basic training, barely completed. And yet he survived what just killed 2 elite special forces members. She looks up at him. How exactly did you survive? He delivers the line with complete sincerity. I'm afraid of dying. I ran fast. First to run the moment I saw anything wrong. She stares at him for a moment. Then she leans forward and drops her voice. She already knows about his mutated hands. She already knows he's lying about everything. She wants to know his real purpose for joining the military, and she wants him to stop wasting her time. He holds her gaze. Says nothing. His expression stays perfectly calm. Then the ground starts moving. Not an aftershock. Not an ordinary tremor. Namho knows this feeling in his bones. A massive herd of beasts is approaching from underground. He jumps up immediately. Run! Tangi tackles him to the floor. She thinks he's trying to escape. Then the ground beneath them opens up entirely. Everyone drops. Free fall through darkness. A second of weightlessness. And then impact at the bottom of a massive underground cave system. Dust everywhere. Silence. Then flashlights click on one by one. And what they illuminate makes every single person in the group go still. They are inside a monster lair. The officer who has been running his mouth all day spots what looks like a draft of air coming from one tunnel, celebrates that it must be an exit, starts walking toward it while making sure to call Namho useless one more time. 3 pairs of red eyes are watching him from the shadows. He doesn't see them. A 3-eyed creature lunges from the dark, and a bolt of lightning from Tangi kills it in midair. Green acid blood sprays outward and lands within millimeters of the officer's most sensitive region. He stands completely frozen, staring at the acid-etched ground right next to him, thanking every deity he can name. Tangi looks at Namho. Something has shifted slightly in her expression. His instincts flagged the danger before anyone else even sensed it. She files that away. Then the sounds start. Soft at first, then building, coming from every direction, from every crack and crevice in the rock walls around them. Beetles. 3-eyed, ferocious, and there are thousands of them. Every path, blocked. Every direction, covered. The whole team fights their way through a bloody corridor to the only beetle-free tunnel and throws themselves inside. Once inside, Namho stops walking. He stands perfectly still, turns around slowly. The beasts aren't following us in here. Nobody likes the sound of that. They push deeper into the tunnel and find out exactly why nothing followed them inside. Deep in the cave, in the largest chamber they've seen yet, a Lord-level mutated beast is crouching in the dark, absorbing red fog through its entire body, evolving in real time. Its mouth hangs open. Inside, a sphere of pure dark energy is slowly forming, growing, swirling. Namho looks at it and immediately understands what's about to happen. Everyone, be careful of the energy sphere in its mouth. Tangi doesn't wait. She raises her weapon and fires her most powerful thunder shot while the beast is still mid-charge. The monster finishes charging at the exact same moment. Both attacks fire simultaneously. They miss each other by inches, passing in opposite directions. The monster takes the full force of Tangi's thunder strike directly to the body. It roars and staggers in pain. The dark energy wave continues forward, straight at Tangi, moving too fast to dodge. Namho steps directly in front of her. His arm mutates. He absorbs the lethal blast with his body. The force shudders through him. He holds. Tongi stares at his transformed arm. He turns to her before she can speak. Let's focus on getting out of here safely first. Then he turns to face the Lord Beast alone and charges straight at it. The Lord Beast is unlike anything Manhwa has fought before. His strikes, devastating by any measure, barely scratch its surface. The armor covering this creature is not like the beasts he has faced before. It's built from hundreds of absorbed kills, layered over years of brutal evolution, reinforced until it might as well be made of compressed iron. Every hit Manhwa lands, and there are many, fast and relentless, leaves nothing but faint marks on the surface. He analyzes without slowing down. It's poured almost everything into defensive armor. Offense is secondary. He almost smiles. So it's just a giant moving punching bag. Behind him, the rest of the team is standing completely still. Soldiers who have seen plenty of combat, watching this bottom-ranked patrol soldier fight a Lord-level beast barehanded and survive. Nobody speaks. Tongi breaks the silence. She fabricates quickly, spinning a cover story for the lower-ranked soldiers before anyone asks the obvious question. Manhwa is classified. A government biological weapon. An experimental subject created specifically for high-level beast combat. State secret. He escaped from the lab and infiltrated the border patrol. The deputy officer does not look convinced. The battle continues. The Lord Beast launches a punch loaded with the force of a collapsing structure. Manhwa ducks under it. The shockwave alone cracks the cave wall behind him. He keeps moving. Keep analyzing. Keep hitting. Then the beast fires another dark energy wave, and Manhwa makes a mistake. He dodges clean. He's fine. But he forgot completely that his teammates are standing directly behind him. The wave hits. Explosion. Tongi saves herself with a surge of electrical energy across her entire body. The loudmouth officer is directly in the blast path, and the deputy officer throws himself bodily in the way. The officer survives. The deputy officer loses a leg. He looks down at the situation, then looks up at the officer he just saved. Exchanging a leg for a life. I see this as a very good deal. I joined the military not only to eliminate mutated beasts, but also to protect my kind. I will never abandon anyone. The officer has no words. For possibly the first time in his life. Back in the main fight, Manhwa's energy is running out. The beast is too durable, too large. Even maintaining his mutated arm is starting to feel impossible. One massive blow connects and sends him skidding hard across the cave floor. He looks up at the beast from the ground. Is this the power of a Lord-level being? It truly is tough. The beast raises its limb for the finishing blow. A bolt of lightning hits it in the skull from the side. Tongi stands in the tunnel entrance. Her expression is cold, but her voice carries something underneath it. Manhwa, you can't die here. I still have too many questions for you. The beast roars and pivots, then does something unexpected. The red fog from every direction in the cave begins converging toward its body. It is healing. In real time. Every wound closing. The scratches and dents from the entire battle smoothing away. Tongi pulls back. We should retreat. Now. While it's healing, it can't move. But the moment it's done, Manhwa doesn't move. It has to die here today. She stares at him. He explains. The red mist it's summoning to heal itself also refills his own energy. Right now, it's the most vulnerable it will ever be, too focused on healing to attack. And Manhwa is the only one in the room who can absorb that same mist to refuel mid-fight. I've walked through the gates of hell countless times. Once more won't matter. She looks at him for a long moment. Then she kneels and begins channeling every remaining trace of lightning power she has into the barrel of her weapon. All right, but we only have one chance. She fires. The thunder shot hits the beast's head with everything she has left. The armor, which held against everything Manhwa threw at it, shatters at the point of impact. The skull is exposed. Manhwa is already moving. Full speed from the moment the shot fired. He leaps, lands directly on top of the creature's exposed head, drives his mutated arm straight into the cracked skull, and delivers 74 consecutive punches into the beast's brain. 74. Each one deliberate. Each one sinking deeper. Green liquid fountains from the wound with every strike. The armored plating around the skull begins fracturing outward in all directions. A final burst of energy erupts from the beast's head. acid rain in every direction. The pressure from the explosion catches Namho and flings him across the cave. He hits the ground hard. His mutated arm vanishes, energy completely spent. He doesn't get back up. Tongi rushes over. Worried. A photo falls from Namho's clothes and lands near her feet. She picks it up, studies it. She doesn't notice the strange black crystal drifting silently from the Lord Beast's corpse, drifting directly toward Namho's hand, and slowly sinking into his palm as his veins pulse in resistance. Later, inside the scanner, Namho's consciousness is somewhere else entirely. A dark void, empty, vast. A chain of genetic code floats beside him, constantly shifting shape, changing configuration, cycling through information he can't read. One specific segment pulses with soft pink light. Steady, trying to communicate something. He looks down at himself and realizes a crystal has embedded itself into the center of his chest. Deep, inseparable, part of him now. The crystal is absorbing the red mist from the void around him, pulling it in and storing it. An unlimited tank of power. With this, he could evolve continuously without ever losing control to the mist. Then the crystal begins to crack. It has hit its storage limit. The mist keeps pouring in. He thinks fast. The Lord Beast had an ability, absorb and release. If he can copy that, he wakes up in the hospital room with red mist seeping from his own skin. His eyes snap open. Red. Burning. He sits up, channels everything into his arm. Thinks it has to work. If I fail, I die. The door opens. Tongi walks in. He shouts, "Get out," and fires. The wave passes over her as she drops flat to the floor by instinct. It blasts through the door, knocks the guard outside off his feet, punches through multiple walls and detonates outside the hospital in a massive explosion. The deputy officer, watching from down the hall, puts it together quietly. "Captain Tong, how much longer can you hide this secret?" The guard soldier lies on the floor holding his head and asks the universe why bad luck finds him so consistently. On the rooftop, wind cutting between them, Tongi and Namho face each other properly for the first time. She already knows. Crystal absorbed. Beast Lord's technique copied. He confirms. He can absorb and store red mist. The crystal self-repairs. He can evolve continuously. But the price, risk of complete assimilation. Of becoming a beast with no trace of himself left inside. He looks at her directly. "In your eyes, Captain, am I human or a monster?" She answers without hesitation. "You are you. A unique existence in this world." Then she raises 2 fingers. Option 1. Join her blood soldier team. Option 2. Be classified as an uncontrollable threat and eliminated immediately. He's surprised she's even offering. He asks why she'd take on something this dangerous. She holds up the photo. His photo, of him and his sister. "I really need you. And if you agree, I will use the highest intelligence network to help you find your sister." He stares at the photo, then reaches out and shakes her hand. Then, because he's him, he immediately starts negotiating a salary increase. She grants it without blinking, then informs him calmly that the cost of all the hospital walls he just destroyed will be deducted from his pay. He leaves looking genuinely tragic. Watching him go, Tongi thinks of her uncle. He was mutated by the red mist, transformed into something that can no longer be called human. She believes, with everything she has, that Namho holds the key to reversing that. The ability to absorb what the mist does to a body. To take it back out. She needs him alive. She needs him strong. And she needs him to trust her. She has a long way to go on that last one. Meanwhile, in a private room in the assessment building, Jang Zhen ends a call with a voice bearing the Luckdong corporate symbol. The voice reminded him that the only reason he's here is because his brother was useful to them. Jang Zhen clenched his fists after hanging up. His brother's broken arm. Namho's face. The blood debt is personal, and Luckdong is giving him the resources to collect it. He will enter Blood Soldier. Whatever it takes. The city of Ho City, capital of Shu, receives a military convoy with the kind of ceremony reserved for people who matter. Namho is sitting in the back of one of those vehicles looking like he'd rather be anywhere else. The loudmouth officer is beside him, having somehow leveraged his logistics assignment into a seat on this convoy, explaining that his ability to absorb punishment makes him tactically valuable. Namho has given up having opinions about this man. Tongi uses the drive to explain the power ranking system properly. Warriors go from E at the bottom to S at the absolute peak. Beasts have their own classification: Zika, Hunter, Overlord, Colossal, Calamity. An E-rank warrior matches a Zika beast. A-rank handles Colossal. S-rank faces Calamity. As for powers, humans need cores to activate theirs. The higher your compatibility with a core, the stronger the ability that wakes up inside you. 3 systems: Elemental, Enhancement, Support. Namho immediately asks about core compatibility, not out of curiosity, but because he's already done the math on himself. The convoy stops. A fully armed military unit is blocking the road. A luxurious vehicle bearing the Lukdong corporate symbol passes through the cleared path. Tongyi watches it go. Something shifts behind her eyes. Why would a corporation this size appear at a blood soldier assessment? In a private room, Jiang Zan is on another call with Lukdong. The voice on the other end is barely tolerating him. Makes clear that his access here exists only because his brothers serve their interests. Another voice interrupts and ends the conversation. Jiang Zan hangs up, stares at his hands. He is here for his brother's honor, and Lukdong is simply the vehicle. He clenches his jaw. The assessment begins. Chief Judge Lam Dong Tin stands before the assembled recruits. A-rank warrior. No expression that suggests he has ever been impressed by anything. He announces the rules in a voice that could cut stone. No backdoor, no nepotism, no exceptions. Strength only. First test, physical. Carry 50 kilograms and sprint. When Namho crosses the finish line in 5 seconds and 10 milliseconds, the measuring official looks at the clock. Looks at the clock again. Checks if it's broken. New record. Arm strength test next. Electronic force measuring system. Namho lifts 500 kilograms with one hand. For the punching test, he holds back, genuinely afraid of breaking the equipment, and even a restrained hit dents the machine and makes it smoke. The machine cannot continue functioning. He approaches Judge Lam Dong Tin, arms behind his back, completely straight-faced. Total score, 198 points. The previous record was 180. The crowd immediately starts murmuring. Cheating. Has to be cheating. Nobody scores like that. This is impossible. And then a voice cuts through from the side. His score has exceeded the old record excessively. I don't believe this result. Jiang Zan. Sharp gaze. Perfectly constructed smile that doesn't touch his eyes. He steps up behind Namho and drops the casual greeting. Just here to say hello to a fellow townsman. Fellow townsman who broke his brother's arm. The rage underneath the smile is barely contained, but the smile holds. Namho looks at this person he doesn't recognize and quietly catalogs him as a future problem. Judge Lam Dong Tin announces the results. Third, Jiang Zan, 123 points. Second, Kim Aowen, 135. First, Namho, 198. At the back of the room, a blonde girl who came to this assessment thinking it would be a light diversion is staring at the score sheet with an expression she usually reserves for truly exceptional scientific specimens. This is so interesting. I have to study him thoroughly. The second test, core compatibility. The top 15 candidates stand in the testing room. Judge Lam Dong Tin explains, where the gauntlet, insert a core, read the compatibility percentage. Below 40%, you are eliminated on the spot. First candidate, 39%. Fails by a single point. Collapses. Second candidate, 56%. Passes. Jiang Zan steps up. Bloodshot eyes. Face showing the strain of whatever stimulant he's running on. He slams the core into the gauntlet with visible aggression. 60%. The crowd buzzes. Highest ever recorded for this batch. No one has hit 60% before today. He steps down with an expression that is pure, undiluted contempt. A bunch of trash. Then Kim Aowen approaches Namho before her test. She knows he's from Zek City. She's been tracking the unusual red fog density readings from Chayak, the spike that happened when Namho was fighting the Lord Beast. She suspects a connection. He breaks into a cold sweat. Immediately pivots. Can you use your connections to find someone for me? She winks. Only if your score beats hers. She bounces up to the testing station, announces to the entire room that she is about to break Jiang Zan's record, and proceeds to insert the core with the energy and flair of a theatrical performance. 78%. The room erupts. Jiang Zan grips the seat in front of him hard enough to leave marks. She walks straight up to him and flashes a peace sign directly in his face. He adds her to the list. Now it's Namho's turn. Last candidate. Every eye in the room is on him. He steps up, one hand in his pocket, points at the sky with the other. Just watch closely. He places the core into the gauntlet. The display shows SEA level. Dead silence. Total. Complete. The kind of silence where you can hear your own heartbeat. Nobody moves. Then the screen flashes error. Then, compatibility test, in 0%. Jangzhen bursts out laughing. Calls it what it looks like, the machine rejecting trash. He's performing for the room now, enjoying every second of what looks like a spectacular failure. Namho frowns, locks eyes on Jangzhen from across the room. Filed for later. Then he feels it, something moving through the gauntlet. Into his arm. A current. Warm and aggressive. He looks down. The core is melting. It's turning into red mist. And the mist is seeping directly into his skin. His body is absorbing the core completely without his permission. He grits his teeth. Tries to suppress it. Tries to pull back. Kim Aowen has already sprinted to the control panel. She's typing at high speed, pulling up data, recording everything. I must document this historical event. And then Jangzhen notices the core has disappeared. No percentage. No result. No core. Report. Instructor. Namho has secretly hidden the core. Judge Lam Dong-tin orders Namho's hand raised for inspection immediately. He raises it. The core is gone. Completely absorbed. No trace. The judge demands it returned. Namho has no answer that doesn't end with him in an experimental lab. He makes the decision in under a second. He lets the red mist seep out from his hand, deliberately, and lets his arm transform in front of the entire room. Gasps. Lam Dong-tin draws his weapon. Everyone steps back. Jangzhen physically retreats a full step. The room is a wall of tension. Everyone back away. If the situation goes out of control, we deal with him here. Kim Aowen's voice cuts through the silence. Could this be the legendary beast transformation? And Namho, surrounded by guns, backed into a corner, with nowhere left to go, turns to the room and says, perfectly calm, "What's wrong? You all seem a bit tense." He slowly pulls the transformation back. Controlled. Deliberate. The mist retracts. His arm returns. He stands there completely composed. Lam Dong-tin can't process it. How are you maintaining consciousness? Transformation without loss of sanity. How? Kim Aowen flings herself at Namho's arm. Rare transformation ability. First one ever discovered. This is history. She's almost vibrating with excitement. Namho looks at her sideways. Who exactly are you to know so much about this? Lam Dong-tin reveals it. Kim Aowen, senior researcher at the Technical Intelligence Bureau. The blonde idle energy girl is one of the most qualified scientists in the country's intelligence apparatus. She pouts. You've ruined my mysterious beauty image. It's completely destroyed. The judge asks for the core back. Namho scratches his head. It's integrated completely. There's no way to remove it. Jangzhen, watching from the back of the room, has understood what this means. An experimental subject who absorbs cores into his own body. Lukdong will want this immediately. A slow, calculating smile crosses his face. He has something very valuable to report. They take Namho to the radiation room. Top researchers cluster around the monitors. The readings coming off this one person are unlike anything the system has been calibrated to handle. One researcher says aloud what everyone is looking at. How can a core physically integrate into a human body? How is that even biologically possible? Kim Siu, lead scientist, Kim Aowen's father, stares at the screen with the expression of a man who has just found the most interesting problem of his career. He surely hides many secrets within him. Chief of Staff Tong Lim enters. He wants answers, not theatrics. He looks at Kim Siu. Kim Siu stops teasing and gives it straight. His compatibility has far exceeded the maximum possible score of 100%. The room recalibrates around that sentence. Tong Lim's expression doesn't change, but his body language shifts entirely. He turns and walks out immediately, calling Lam Dong-tin to follow. Inside the scanner, Namho watches the crystal in his chest shift from black to bright, burning red. He feels it pulsing in time with his heartbeat. He thinks through it slowly. Every beast he absorbs makes him stronger. The stronger the beast, the greater the gain. There is no ceiling on this. No upper limit. No point at which he has absorbed enough and has to stop. I can continuously evolve. In the emergency meeting at CIU Yet headquarters, Tongyi is on her feet. Namho is hers. She recruited him. She gave him her word. He belongs on her team, and she is not backing down from this. Her father, Chief of Staff Tong Lim, looks at her with the flat patience of a man who has had this argument with subordinates before and never lost it. Mind your rank and how you address people. You're showing excessive personal concern for a rookie of grade C. She pushes. She gave her word. She cannot break it. A soldier's loyalty is to the nation, not to an individual. Namho has been assigned to Lam Dongtin's team. This is the final decision. He turns back to his paperwork. Then, as a pointed exit, are you trying to compete for someone with your own subordinate? Return to your position. This is an order. She bows, complies, and internally switches to Plan B. Elsewhere, Namho and the loudmouth officer are arriving at the Chayak Patrol Barracks for registration. The officer is in a good mood, explaining at length how the logistics team is actually extremely important in battlefield situations. Namho has not spoken in approximately 12 minutes. They turn a corner and find Captain Kachuan surrounded. Truong Thursday, captain of the city defense team, old enemy, wide sadistic energy, has Kachuan cornered with his crew. The officer is being physically restrained by two large men. Truong Thursday is telling Kachuan exactly what he needs to do to make this stop. Kneel. Lick the mud off his shoes. Kachuan is about to do it. His jaw is set. His fists are clenched. He would do anything to protect his subordinate from having his arm broken in front of him. Even this. Namho steps between them. He doesn't raise his voice. He addresses the entire defense team with the calm tone of someone stating a fact. Today, with Namho here, who dares to touch Captain Ko? I will chop their bones. They look at this baby-faced kid in a low-ranked soldier's uniform. Then they look at each other. Then they all charge him at once. He stands completely still until the first one is in range. One light kick. Down. Second one thunderous punch. Crashes to the ground. Third, fourth, one hit each. Maximum efficiency, no wasted movement. In seconds, the entire group is on the ground. Nobody got touched twice. Truong Thursday pulls a gun. Aims directly at Namho's head. Fires. Namho moves sideways. The bullet passes through empty air where his head was. He closes the distance in a fraction of a second, grabs the gun, pulls it free, and crushes it in his bare hand. The pieces fall to the ground. Your shooting speed is terrible. Truong Thursday pulls a knife. Charges. Pure rage. Namho catches his arm with one hand. Lifts him off the ground by the collar. Looks him in the eye. You wanted someone to kneel and lick your feet. Right. He slams Truong Thursday's head directly into the concrete. The impact is so severe the ground cracks apart in a ring around the impact point. Truong Thursday hits the floor and doesn't move, foaming at the mouth, fully unconscious. The remaining thugs stare at the scene for approximately 1 second. Then they run, screaming that this man is a monster, not a soldier. Namho brushes his hands off like he touched something dirty. He walks over to Captain Kachuan and hands back his crossbow, the crossbow that originally came from Teal Twit. Kachuan is still processing everything. Namho's explanation is simple. You helped me before. This is me returning the favor. At the temporary base, Tongyi hands Namho his approved application. Headquarters has cleared his participation in the Blood Soldier Combat Unit assessment. He pumps his fist. Just wait for me to break every record for you. She flatly tells him to pass first. He boards the convoy to Host City with the confidence of a man who has already won, and the assessment hasn't started yet. The convoy gets blocked at a checkpoint. A luxurious vehicle bearing the Lukdong symbol passes through. Tongyi watches it and says nothing, but the unease behind her eyes is real. In the aftermath of the core test, Zhang Xin is in contact with Lukdong again. He reports what he saw. The core entering the body. The transformation without loss of control. The scan results that broke the compatibility chart. The voice on the other end goes quiet for a moment. Then, bring him to us. Zhang Xin smiles. This is exactly what he needed. Lukdong wants Namho alive, which means Namho is now a commodity, and Zhang Xin controls access. He may be the least powerful person in this building, but in this moment, he holds something valuable. Back in the break room, Kim Owen explodes through the door. Hot news. A monster den has been discovered. Rookies are being deployed to scout it. She has already arranged a joint team with Lam Dong-tin. It's done. Namho blinks. You arranged this already? She claps her hands. Data collection is my specialty. I'll protect you. I'm grade D, you're grade C, but don't worry about the numbers. He opens his mouth, closes it, decides not to say anything. 3 military vehicles roll toward the den. Kim Aoun is providing commentary the entire drive. It's a hive, worker bees, soldier bees, standard structure. They arrive and Namho looks up. The hive is enormous. Vast. Wrong. Nothing about the size of this is compatible with the word low level. He wonders, not for the last time, whether the intelligence report was deliberately inaccurate. Before he finishes the thought, the hive opens. Thousands of iron stinger giant bees pour out simultaneously, a storm made of living weapons. Soldiers are already panicking. The stingers are piercing the armored vehicle sides like they're made of foil. Someone shouts that the vehicles can't hold. Namho steps up. He wraps his power around the entire vehicle door, projects his mutation outward onto the metal itself, turning it into a solid shield. Both arms fully transformed. He charges directly into the swarm. He is moving like water, tearing through bees mid-flight, one after another, learning mid-fight that he can project his power onto any physical object and weaponize it. A door becomes a shield. A door becomes a spear. A fallen weapon becomes something entirely new. Then a beam of green light fires in from a distance and punches cleanly through the shield. That is not a worker bee. He immediately warns everyone to find cover. A teammate reaches for his flamethrower. Another green stinger fires in from the same direction and hits the gas tank. The explosion is immediate and total. The teammate goes down. Namho turns to Kim Aoun. Where are those stingers coming from? She pulls up her data. Hunter-level queen bee. Venom that pierces grade C armor. She pauses. The intel was wrong. This is not a low-level den. He doesn't waste time on that. His plan, he handles the queen. Everyone else holds the workers. Kim Aoun raises her hands and Storm Gale launches. A full tornado that sweeps the entire worker bee swarm away in one move. The path is clear. He charges. The queen bee's red eyes lock onto him the moment he enters her range. She moves like something that hasn't lost a fight before. He uses his power to reshape the vehicle door into a long, sharp spear, bends it to a perfect point, razor-edged, the best weapon he can build from available materials. He stomps once. The ground cracks in a ring around his foot from pure force concentration. He throws the spear at full power. It moves like a cannon round. It hits the queen bee directly. She doesn't react, doesn't flinch, doesn't step back. He stares. Kim Aoun sprints toward him. Don't let it escape. It's about to evolve into a ruler. He's running low. Without a fresh supply of red mist, his energy depletes fast, and there's nothing in this immediate area to absorb. He looks exhausted. Kim Aoun leans toward him. You look like you're about to faint. Do you need mouth-to-mouth? He sits bolt upright. I have no interest in kids. She throws a chocolate bar at him in pure indignation. Decision made. They report to headquarters for backup support. While that request is being processed, Kim Aoun makes her own decision. The queen is injured. The concentration reading is still within manageable levels. This is a golden window for merit. She's going in alone to scout one more time. Namho doesn't stop her in time. At headquarters, the alarm comes through. Danger level rising. Kim Aoun and Namho have entered without permission. Lam Dong-tin is visibly alarmed. Tong Lim stays calm. Notes that his daughter is reckless, but not reckless enough to truly risk herself. He orders the nearest Se Huyet team to deploy immediately. Primary objective: ensure their safety. He tells Tongyi to send backup and adds, almost as an afterthought, that her brother can accompany as additional support. He has arranged bodyguard coverage for his daughter without ever once saying the words. Inside the hive, Namho and Kim Aoun move in protective suits. Her detector reads energy levels as stable, insufficient for rapid evolution. They have time. Namho stops. Something is wrong. The queen bee erupts from the shadows. She is already larger than she was. Significantly, her armoring has thickened. Her eyes are brighter red. She evolved. While they were waiting outside, she is now ruler level, the toxic armored queen bee. Kim Aoun looks at her detector in pure fury. Why didn't this machine give any warning? She stops, looks at the readings more carefully. The protective suits, there specifically, have been compromised. The alarm sensitivity has been deliberately reduced. Someone in Say Huyet tampered with their equipment before this mission. There is an insider. Iron stingers pour in from every direction. They run. Namho finds a small cave off the main tunnel. He seals Kim Aowen inside with a large rock and turns to face the queen. She shouts after him as he walks away. You must come back. If you don't, even if I go to hell, I will never forgive you. He doesn't stop walking. Doesn't look back. Just answers. I promise. I will definitely return. He absorbs the red mist in the tunnel fully, fills himself completely, and turns to face the ruler-level beast. Let the fun begin. He activates Scarlet Core Explosive, the technique he copied from the Lord Beast. Every ounce of power he has goes into the energy sphere forming in his hand. This is his most devastating attack. It cost him everything last time. He hurls it. The explosion is catastrophic. The earth shakes. The hive fractures, a massive hole punched through its entire structure, dust and debris launching in every direction. The collapse sends shockwaves through the tunnels. The smoke clears. The toxic armored queen bee stands in the center of the crater, completely unharmed. He stares. His mouth doesn't quite close. Are you kidding me? And it gets worse, because Kim Aowen's detector finally comes back online inside her hiding spot, and she sees immediately what the explosion did. The red mist concentration in the cave has doubled. The massive energy release pumped more mist into the enclosed space than was already there. Even the weakest scout bees, the ones that were completely irrelevant before, have evolved into hunter level from the spike. The more Namho fights, the more powerful everything around him becomes. He started noticing it too. Every enemy he takes down is replaced by something faster and harder. His replenishment rate, normally his greatest advantage, cannot keep pace with how fast the environment is escalating around him. He is being outscaled by his own battlefield. The corrosive mist is building up on his arm specifically. Kim Aowen sees it from her hiding spot. The concentration is now high enough that it's starting to attack even him. If this continues, he will lose control. She activates her power, sends a targeted wind sphere through the tunnel. It wraps around Namho's body and blows the accumulated mist clean off him. He internally screams. She just cleared the fuel he was trying to use. The queen bee launches a dense volley of paralytic stingers from multiple angles simultaneously. He blocks with his arms. The paralytic effect is persistent and deeply uncomfortable. More bees attack from behind at the same moment. He's boxed. Then, someone crashes in from the side and blocks the rear attack with his body. Deputy Officer Lam Dong-chi. The battle isn't over. Focus. Purple bullets rain down from above. Every bee in the encirclement is shot down in seconds. Captain Tangi stands at the tunnel entrance. She got the call for support and came immediately. No hesitation, no delay. She orders the full team in. Flamethrowers ignite. Heavy weapons open up. The swarm begins to burn. Namho and the deputy officer are pulled back to rest and recover. The queen bee ignores the chaos entirely, turns and charges directly at the command position in a surprise assault. Tangi intercepts it. One direct thunderbolt. The queen bee's entire body locks up, paralyzed by high voltage, unable to move. It tries to fly up and escape the trap. Namho watches from the side. Privately, quietly, he thinks, "Looks like my wife is pretty strong." While everyone is focused on the queen, he slips sideways. Just slightly. Just enough to absorb the ambient red mist from the tunnel air. Quietly rebuilding. Nobody notices. Then the queen bee does the one thing nobody is prepared for. It begins pulling all the red mist from the surrounding area directly into its own body. Every direction. Like a black hole opening in the middle of their formation. The mist converges on the queen from everywhere at once. A soldier gasps. No way. Didn't it just evolve to Overlord? The swarm surges again around them. Everything is bigger now. Everything is worse. Namho shouts over the chaos. I have a way to handle this, boss. Just keep the swarm off me. He dashes forward at his maximum speed. Raw aggression, no holding back. He taunts the queen bee deliberately. Draws her focus. Keeps her attention locked on him while the team battles the swarm around them. He activates Crimson Starburst. Hurls it directly at her. She walks through it. He nearly gets impaled by 3 stingers simultaneously dodging the counter. He twists in midair and lands clear. Looks at the queen. Looks at her armor. Processes. Bare hands will not break this. No technique he currently has will crack that shell. He needs a weapon with enough physical density and force concentration to pierce something that has absorbed enough evolutionary energy to shrug off his best attack. He looks down. One of the queen bee's own fallen stingers is on the ground. He picks it up, wraps his mutation power around it, begins reshaping, pulling the molecular structure of the needle outward, extending it, thickening it, compressing the point to a density that nothing he's made from scavenged metal could ever reach. A great blade, built from the enemy's own body, sharp enough to cut through the thing it came from. He holds it up, looks at the queen. He charges. He channels everything remaining into his legs and closes the distance in a second. The queen bee tries to track him. He's moving too fast. He leaps at the last moment, gets above her, and brings the blade down with everything he has. Blood crimson slash. The technique name sounds clean. What it looks like is a thunderclap hitting the earth. The explosion from the impact sends shockwaves in every direction. Dust, debris, a silence that lasts exactly 1 second. Then the queen bee begins to fall. She hits the ground. The armor across her body, that impossible, unbreakable shell, fractures from the impact point outward in cracks that spread like lightning through stone. The red light in her eyes dims slowly, then stops. Her crystal core rises from her body and arcs through the air. Manhwa was already moving before it reached its peak. He positions himself perfectly, raises his hand. The crystal falls directly into his palm. He grabs it. His body responds immediately. The absorption begins without waiting for his permission. The power from a full ruler-level beast, flooding his system at once. He grits his teeth against the pain. His veins pulse visibly. His eyes go from red to something brighter, something more intense than before. He buckles. Not from weakness, but from the sheer volume of what's entering him. The team around him freezes. Nobody moves. The fight is over. The queen is down, and Manhwa is standing in the center of it, absorbing a ruler-level core with an expression that's somewhere between agony and breakthrough. Kim Aowen pushes out from her hiding spot and stops when she sees him. She doesn't say anything funny. She doesn't tease him. She just watches, with the expression of a scientist who has just witnessed something that rewrites what she thought was possible. When it ends, when the crystal's energy finishes integrating and the pain eases, Manhwa straightens up. His arms return to normal. His eyes settle back to their standard color. He exhales slowly. He looks at his hands. They feel different. Heavier. More settled. Like the difference between wearing borrowed clothes and clothes made specifically for your body. He absorbed a ruler. That puts him significantly beyond where he was an hour ago. He can feel it, not just in his arms, but everywhere. The crystal in his chest has expanded its capacity again. More storage, more range, more potential. Lam Dong Tin arrives with the second wave of backup and stops at the entrance of the tunnel when he sees what's left of the queen bee. He looks at the size of the corpse, looks at the cracks running through its supposedly impenetrable armor, looks at Manhwa. He has no words for the file report he's going to have to write. Kim Aowen is already typing notes into her tablet at high speed, narrating data points to herself, cataloging every detail of what the ruler-level absorption did to Manhwa's physical readings in real time. Tongi stands nearby, watching Manhwa without speaking. Her deputy officer is beside her, missing a leg and standing straight regardless. The mission is complete. The den is cleared. The queen is down. But the insider who tampered with their suits, who compromised the alarm thresholds, who let the queen evolve to ruler while they were outside waiting, is still unidentified. Still in Seihu yet. Still moving freely. And Luk Dong, whose vehicle passed through the checkpoint with military clearance before the assessment, has now received Zhang Zan's full report. A soldier who absorbs cores into his own body. Compatibility beyond 100%. Maintains consciousness during beast transformation. The first such case in recorded history. The voice on the Luk Dong call didn't say much after hearing that. But what it did say was clear. Bring him to us. The convoy back to base is quieter than the convoy out. Manhwa sits in the vehicle looking at the window. Or past it, really. Looking somewhere else. Somewhere that isn't here. 6 months. Every camp checked. Every database searched. 0. Teal Twit is out there somewhere. Small girl. Innocent eyes. Total trust every time she looked at him. I'll wait for you to come back. He told her to be good. He promised he'd be back soon. 6 months. Tongi, sitting across from him, says nothing. She has the intelligence network. She has resources he has never had access to. And she has his photo, which means she already ran the search before she ever made him the offer. She found something. She has to have found something. Otherwise, the offer was empty, and nothing about Tong and I suggests she makes empty offers. He doesn't ask her yet. He knows she'll deliver when she's ready, when she's confirmed the lead, when she has something concrete to give him rather than a direction and a hope. He is learning to be patient. Slowly, painfully, Kim Aoun finishes her notes and looks up at him across the vehicle interior. For once, she doesn't say anything sharp or teasing. She just nods once, the kind of nod that means I saw what you did, and I understand what it cost. He nods back. The convoy rolls through the ruins of what used to be a city. The red mist still hangs at the edges. The beasts are still out there, stronger ones, evolving ones, rulers and overlords and things that haven't been classified yet, because nobody who encountered them came back to write the report. Somewhere above all of this, the calamity-level beasts exist. Things that make rulers look like stepping stones. Things that an S-rank warrior can theoretically face. Except there are almost no S-rank warriors, and the calamity-level creatures have been growing stronger every month since the seal broke. And there's a final boss, SSS-ranked. Something beyond classification. Something that sits at the end of this world like a wall with no door. Namho absorbed a ruler today. He's still E-rank in the official system, still a rookie, still the lowest ranked member of any team he's assigned to. But the crystal in his chest is bright red and expanding. The compatibility chart doesn't have a number for what he is. And every beast he kills makes the next absorption stronger than the last. The gap between where he is and where he needs to be is enormous. But he started today only able to scratch Lord-level armor with everything he had. He ended today holding a ruler's crystal core in his bare hand. He looks out the window at the red-misted horizon. Somewhere out there, his sister is waiting. Somewhere out there, Lukdong is plotting. Somewhere out there, Zhang Zhen is sharpening the knife with their name on it. Somewhere in Se-Huyet, a traitor is watching the same team Namho just bled with and reporting everything back to a corporation whose symbol appears wherever something dangerous is about to happen. And somewhere, deeper in this broken world than anyone has mapped, something SSS rank is sitting in the dark, waiting for someone strong enough to be worth fighting. Namho closes his eyes, breathes once, slowly. Tomorrow he will be stronger than he is right now. The day after, stronger still. He will find his sister. He will find out what Lukdong wants. He will learn the name of the traitor. And eventually, not today, not this week, but eventually, he will face whatever is at the end of this apocalypse. Because he already died once on the day the world ended. And he's been getting back up ever since. If you want to see what happens when Namho finally finds his sister, smash that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment below. See you in the next one.